Good morning and welcome to another edition of Roadhouse Live. We are live. Today is May 22, 2023. Bender, how are you, sir?
I'm all right. Good morning.
He is all right, the man says. Well, everybody seems to be doing all right, which is good. We like it when everybody's doing all right. All right, so over the weekend, we got nothing but straight up bluster out of DC. Nothing but bluster. Nothing but just blah, 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 blah. Futures open red. They bought it back pretty quick. We were nicely green here a few minutes ago. Then we got Bullard on the mic, says he's expecting, 2 more rate hikes by the end of the year, which obviously is not what the market is anticipating. So we get a red candle that still leaves us green. The other thing of note, some of the big mega cap is kind of taking a spill. Micron obviously took a spill based off of China saying that they are a threat to their national security. We'll no longer be using their products, whatever that means. And we get debt ceiling conversation with McCarthy and Biden apparently at some point today. So there will be a headline there to talk about something. This week we get a lot of interesting data. We get some inflationary data. We get GDP, we get Fed minutes, and we get what feels like a Fed speaker piping off every 15 minutes between now and the end of the week. So we're going to have one of those weeks that you can be in position and easily get shook and thrown with an algo. That'll be the environment for the week. It feels like a torture box kind of week, but we shall see. There's a lot of data and a lot of quote unquote headlines that can move us one way or the other. I think a lot of people, based off of last week's run, even the ones that were straight bull, are looking at this week and moving forward as being pullback / correction / whatever you want to call it. I'm beyond trying to figure out and think what this is. Need to get back to basics. Need to get back into the idea of like, okay, there's some flow. Okay, that's 15%. Thank you very much. See you tomorrow. That's until we get something meaningful as far as, and this is what's interesting, Bender, something meaningful as far as direction. The direction has been up since October. So you can't say that with a straight face, right?
Since October, I mean, obviously we have, I think the direction since October has been sideways.
Sideways to up. It's been more vertical than horizontal.
We were up. Yeah. I mean, if you go back to
the lows were put in October,
let's say August. Right? Yes. So we are currently higher than those lows, but lower than the high that we had back in August.
Right.
So we're operating in that area. Anyway, continue.
The point basically being is I have never seen a market that is more in line with being a lab. If anybody's ever owned a lab or a retriever, you kind of understand what I'm talking about here. It's like, it doesn't matter what may be coming. It doesn't matter what just happened. The only thing that matters is within a 3.5 minute segment of time. That dictates everything. And operating like a lab with no real, baggage, if you will, as far as the past, and no real expectation as far as the future, and completely living in the moment is what this market will um, reward. Trying to run it one way or the other is not necessarily the most helpful of ideas. So, with that being said, we spent a lot of time in the torture box. We peeked up above the torture box. Do we get a new torture box, Bender? What do we get? Why don't you tell us what we get? Or why don't you tell
You
us
would
what
like
you
it.
see? Tell us what you see and what these charts are saying, and then we'll pick the box to be tortured within.
You just like the idea of being tortured by a box.
You know, it's like some days it's like, yeah, fuck it. Why not? Go ahead.
Yeah. All right. Let me share this here. You guys should all see my chart. Okay, so I'm actually going to go to a 4 hour first. Zoom this out. So talking about that range going back to August down into October, and I threw some fibs on there, and you can see this is the 786 retracement right here, 4224 level. That is the 786. What's more interesting, I think, to me, and granted, we're a ways away from it now, but you can see that 50% level there, 3986, and kind of every time we got below it, come back up. When we get above it, pull back, right? And you can kind of see that line, kind of being the it's the 50% list. So being the clear midpoint, right? You can kind of see the reaction there. That's just kind of bigger picture, right? If I zoom in to a 60-minute, this is what we were talking about last week. I think Friday. If I measure the retracement, this is a Fibonacci extension that you see right here, right now. But if you measure the retracement from 4062 half to this high, this first swing high right here, 4163.75, these little taps on 4112 here, that was the midpoint. That was 50%. So they pulled it back 50% and then ran the extensions up here. And you can see I threw those on here. You can see ran all the way up to 1618 based on this move right here from 4062 half to 4163.75. And then they ran it all the way up 1618. So can it go higher from there? Sure. We were kind of talking about this last week. Yeah. I mean, absolutely. But this move right here is complete. So I'm kind of looking at this going, the headlines that I saw this morning, I don't even know if headlines is the right term, right? The chatter, market chatter that I was seeing this morning was all about market breaks range, has people chasing, here's what happens, when this occurs, all that kind of shit, right? That is not the way that I want to come into this. I'm not coming in with that way of thinking. It's like, did we break out of a range? Well, we did. Go back down to part here. We did break some of these previous, highs, but until we find ourselves above 4250, and holding, it's like still inside of this. We still have this, and that's all the way up at 4,400, but those highs from August, those are still up there. I'm not going to sit on my hands. If we're going to make a run to 4,200, I'm not sitting on my hands to 44. I'm not going to sit on my hands from 4,200 going, well, we could still hit this. And, that would be resistance. No, I just play it as it presents itself. But in the grand scheme of things, we're still banging our head, up against these levels of resistance. So I can't get all excited about this yet, especially given, that this most recent move, right? And we still got this hanging out up here around 42.40. Did they go up and take that? They certainly could. You can see this high right there, 42.31. So 42.31 to 42.40, 42.42.25, kind of right in here. If we get another good headline or something today or early this week and they pop us up into there, that's kind of head on a swivel time, right? As far as how the morning is shaping up, this is what I see. We had, this was last night's low down here, 41.86 half, right? And you figure anything from last night's low to 4 a.m. or so, like everything in here is below current levels. And this is currently acting as support, right? So early here this morning, when the market opens, I'm going to be watching to see if we can kind of hold up in here. Let's say ideally we hold over 4,200, right? If we're going to get a continued move or push higher. But you can see this pink box here showing kind of the last 5-minute fair value gap that was previously, unfilled on the 18th and then sold through it and came right back up into it. And that is what is currently acting as resistance, right? So I'll be watching this just a little bit. This 42.12 that was support. If we can get through this shaded box, got this little volume imbalance up here. What we don't want to see, if you're looking for an upside move or continued upside, what you don't want to see is that it comes up here and takes this by 1 or 2 ticks, maybe even into this volume imbalance, lays a candle over it, and then reverses. If you want to see a run up into those 42.40 area, we need to get above this and use this area as support and then take out all of this stuff right in here from Friday. And downside wise, again, we have that low from last night. We give up 4,200, then we're probably looking down at that low, 41.8675. And then below that previous new week opening gap, you got some stuff in between, right? So you got 41.86 half down here was that overnight low. And then really the next major is 41.6125. And then previous new week opening gap down in the 41.50s. This purple area right in here, 41.90s, this is what I would want to see on a pullback. This is what I would want to see kind of last line of defense hold. Also an old new week opening gap, right? So that's kind of what it is for me is, do we hold 4,200 early? If not, do we come down and test 41.90? Under that, then I look for lower levels. Above say 42.12. If it can pop through that and hold it, then we can look at 42.27 and then 31 and 43. And that's it. Hells. Oh, Hells.
Hi, Benda.
you disconnected and then reconnected, and I forgot to add you back
totally,
in.
Yeah, no, it totally booted me off for whatever reason. And I was like, okay, I guess Bender really wants his time in the spotlight.
Control Alt Delete. Fix it.
Huh? You know what? I decided to be patient. I decided to let the interwebs talk amongst themselves to figure out exactly what they wanted to have happen. And I'm very
Let the
comfortable.
interwebs talk amongst themselves.
Yes, they have to. They have to have their time to ponder. Look, it's like great chart, great work. I don't know how many times that we've kind of come into where we're like, okay, so we're right in the middle. Again, it looks like we're right in the middle of an area that, we either chop box or we play. It's like, yeah, I don't fucking know, dude. That's all I can really say. I don't fucking know. I know that some of the flow has been good in some directions, but should we spin it to Stonk? See what the Stonk has to say. Pagey Stonkington, Miss Stonkington, you available?
Stunky in the building. Hello. Good morning.
Good morning.
All right. Yeah, lots of good stuff to talk about. Let's get to some sharings. Here we go. So here we've got the spy machine. Very simple. And I was really interested doing some research this weekend about the debt limit. So start off. Since 1960, the Congress has raised, extended, or revised the debt limit 78 separate times since 1960. So if we're going to have some headlines about that, we should be kind of prepared. So went back in time, February 4th, 2013. This candle right here was a day where we had a debt limit headline, and they fixed it. They came up with a new deal, and there was our candle. We pushed down, pushed back up. They tried to sell it, and then we just continued to the upside. So it's like, okay, not the most bearish thing that can happen in the market. We shook some people out when we pushed up, which is kind of we've been ripping lately with all this crazy bad news. Back in 2011, there was another one of these. They signed the deal on August 2nd in 2011 for a new debt limit adjustment. And then over the weekend, the U.S. debt was downgraded. And this was the candle on Monday. And then again, we pushed back up, just continued right to the upside. So just something to be aware of if we get a headline related to the debt limit, that we may get a sell, and then just make sure you're not trapped in some short position, because lately it feels like no matter what the news is, we just keep pushing up. So just something we should be aware of moving into this week. Next, just wanted to highlight the value of SPXS, especially on Friday. We got this dark pool that came in right here, and then so we pushed up until the bigger dark pool, which is up here at 1690, which basically gave us our low for the day. Once we hit this and we couldn't close above it, we just kept bouncing every time we checked it. You can see really clearly there, top of SPXS, a low, top of SPXS, another low over here on the ES. So that's something I'm going to be focusing on moving into this week. And that's just mostly for scalping. So let's see, let's get into the Russell. So I was showing kind of this potential megaphone building out. We've got, kind of just like you were saying at the beginning, we had a nice push up. This is going to be the new week opening gap, which Mr. T is always interested in a return to those areas. Not necessarily sure when it will happen, but something to be aware of. If we need to have downside targets on the Russell, that's what I'll be looking for. And then we can see this is an open fair value gap above 1 hour order block line that's come into play really clearly. So we'll see what happens there if we're going to kind of retest this area again on the Russell. NQ, let's jump over that. Again, new week opening gap. For anyone that I know, for me, for some of this ICT stuff, it's helped me with the indicators. So this is the one that's been helping me. I don't know if you want to grab that one. We can get into that more later, but it just shows you what all the daily gaps, weekly gaps. So I've been liking that one. And then speaking of daily gaps, this gold box below, both of these could potentially be downside targets on the NQ. So room all the way down to what is this 670-ish. And then if we're going to push up, we still left an open fair value gap above. So we've got some upside targets on the NQ as well, with room all the way to this 14,127. So we'll keep an eye on that. With Friday being OPEX, we got a shitload of dark pools. So I put those in the room. One of them that stood out was on Visa. This is 30% average 30-day up here. Was a weekly inside bar. So I'm going to kind of give it some time to play out. If we're going to push up, which this chart kind of did look potentially bullish to me at first. I've got an alert that's going to pop in the room here at this 234.55. Other than that, I think we had some money on Apple. Always good to keep an eye on Apple. And we're still in this massive rising wedge. Here's the dark pool from Friday, and we can see we sold pretty aggressively off that. So we're back into these big dark pools I was watching last week. So I'm going to watch for upside reaction to this 173.57 below. This one's been working well as support, 172.65 on the Apple. Other than that, I think that's pretty much all I have for today.
Yeah, it's kind of, it doesn't seem like a whole lot has really shifted or changed over the weekend. Would you agree, Stonk?
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't super, dialed in on charts over the weekend. I did everything I could before I left, and so yeah, coming back, I'm like, yeah, these were the important dark pools last week on Apple. We're there. So yeah, just kind of watch flow, see what we get. A lot of news, a lot of headlines coming out. So just take it easy.
And I think from the standpoint of flow, coming off of OPEX, it's like, I've done a couple of things through the years. It's like sometimes I try to weigh OPEX flow into the forward moving, and statistically that hasn't served me all that well. So I think for myself, I'm going to look at any flow that comes in. I'm going to pretend like there's no flow at all on anything. I'm going to go ahead and completely erase my memory of any type of flow that I think was there. Like just zero out, and have anything that comes in as being what is actually there, building a brand new database. So I'm zeroing out completely mentally, and then trying to, get an idea of where we're going. It's like, what the fuck kind of chart is that, Stonk?
Right.
It's like what?
Yeah, that would be, let's look here. Rising megaphone, maybe. That was a big dark pool as well.
You got any more names for some of these, or are you having to dig deep into the chart book to be like, what the fuck is this? What is going on here?
It's an inverse trombone.
Yeah, exactly. It's like 100%. It's like that's the goofy thing about some of it. It's like no, that is a saxophone that's been.
There you go. I posted your example, cited my references and sources in the room for you there. Dude.
Yeah, no, it's like that's just so wild. And looking at, and it what's so funny, it's like, so that wasn't on the social medias very much this weekend, but I sat there and I opened up, and I'm just going through, and it's like everybody, this little big red that you have coming in here, whatever this is, that home building chart that swooped down. Pretty much everybody's like, yep, no correction time, yep, no death time, yep. But basically the same people that were saying it, when we've been on this march up. It's like new week, new opportunity, I guess, new time to set the deck, or maybe all those puts expired, so now you get to start anew. I don't know. I really, really don't. But I do appreciate, your work and working through some of these charts and Bender's work some of these charts because it definitely peels off that bias. And we can see there's a lot in the middle. That's the one chart that I can say that coin, the flow is not good on coin. But we've seen caustic flow on coin and it just rocket shots. Um,
Yeah, I have alerts here on coin. This was a weekly inside bar and it has killer range if it can get going. So if we're going to pop this area here to the upside, we'll get an alert. And then below, I've marked up this 55.65. These are old fibs I've had on here for a while. So
mhm.
coin's very compressed and we'll see what we get.
All right. Benner, you got anything you want to add?
I mean, we talked about that. I'll throw this back on here real quick. We talked about, this 4112 level, being, that support from Friday. If you measure the move from Friday's high to, the overnight low, that 618 is right there as well. 42.1175 might be a tick off. I can't tell. Hells, I got to that point where I told my wife last week, I'm like, I got to go to an optometrist. I finally hit that point. I had like perfect vision my entire life, never wore contacts, never wore glasses, nothing. And now all of a sudden it's like, and it seems to be from the time I noticed that all of a sudden my eyesight isn't fantastic anymore. It seems to just like progressively get like now all of a sudden I'm trying to look at these lines and I'm seeing double. I'm like, I gotta get something. I gotta fix it.
Dude, there's an acceleration that takes place between like 40 and 48, like as far as vision, like that little window of time and age to where your vision, it's like it gets to the point to where looking at the backs of like the like cooking instructions on like the packaged goods, that kind of stuff, or you're trying to put together like whatever gadget you bought off of Amazon or Home Depot or whatever it is, you can't read the instructions anymore. It just drives you fucking bananas. But yeah, there's it's
I
real,
find
man.
myself like I was like, what is wrong with my phone? Why is it so blurry? And then it's like I scooted out, like a foot, and it's like, oh, now I can see it. Now it's perfect. Anyway,
Well, it's like for somebody like you might just be able to go into the drugstore and get the, the reading glasses and have it be just fine. Like 100%. But it's like for computer wise, it's like I have a separate pair of the nerd glasses, the tinted ones that I use when I'm sitting at the computer for the most part.
If my eyes weren't so bad, I'd be making fun of you guys for being old right now.
But you've probably been dealing with it for years.
Yeah, exactly.
You were just born broken.
Yep, pretty much.
Man. But anyways, guys, that's all I have. We have a lot of activity this week that can throw some candles. I don't know what to say other than, let's be here. Let's be present. Let's be in the moment. Let's try to take advantage and try not to get overly leveraged into any concept, idea, thought, or anything along those lines. Let's be that dog. Let's be that lab. It's like every day is an opportunity and every minute is an opportunity for a treat. It's also an opportunity for a whooping if you're not smart. So let's just try to be within the moment and play what we see more so than ever. You guys have anything else? Anybody in the audience, in the room, have anything that they want to offer?
Where is Sun and who approved his vacation day?
Sun just does. Who knows? He's probably somewhere in the wilderness right now, sitting there taking pictures of things and such as and whatnots.
He did say Vegas, so.
Did he go to Vegas?
Yeah, he was telling us that on Friday.
Oh, he's probably in a hotel room with a dead hooker right now trying to figure out what to do. It's probably my guess then.
Okay.
That would be my guess. I didn't know Vegas was on the... Maybe he is the dead hooker. That's not
That's-
funny, but it's really funny. It's just
It was
really,
funny.
really funny. It's just, but it's not funny, but it's really funny. All right, 10 minutes until open. 10 minutes until open. Let's get comfortable and have the best day we can possibly have. Thank you, Bender. Thanks, Stockton.
See you in a few.
See ya.